Deputy O'Keefe, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you for affording me the opportunity to say a few words on tonight's private members' business. I will not be supporting the bill that has been proposed, which will in effect ban hair crossing. My reason for this is a matter of conscience, but also after consultation with many of my constituents. This consultation is not something that has taken place over the last 48 or 72 hours, but in fact over a number of years, with the aim of promoting the safe practice of hair crossing. I also reject this bill as there is already a strict regulatory framework in place which ensures the highest animal welfare standards and protections are in place and carry out this sport. The rural activity of government-regulated hair coursing has been persistently condemned in an attempt to ban regulated coursing. The groups who do this are small and are in the minority, but are visible. They have relied on exaggeration, misinformation and fabrication in order to gain attention from the media and appeal to the politicians. I and my party take very serious the issue of animal health and welfare. As someone who has dealt daily with animals, I strongly support any improvements in animal welfare, and I've always been proud with the fact that Fianna Fail makes significant improvements in animal welfare when last in government, and continue to be at the forefront when it comes to improvements on issues regarding animal welfare. Regulated coursing is and has been managed under the Irish Coursing Club, which was established in 1916. It is the central authority for more than 80 coursing clubs. These clubs hold meetings once annually and typically over a 2-day period. Coursing is supervised by the National Parks and Wildlife Services under the Department of Arts, Heritage and the Gaeltacht. This is all strictly monitored by the Department of Agriculture. I am of the firm belief that many fail to differentiate between coursing and illegal hunting, as referred already here Lutchen. Both of these are worlds apart in practice. Although it is not uncommon for many to make the mistake one from the other, I believe it is important to clarify to the public the very real and important differences between regulated coursing and illegal hunting. As I've already stated, coursing is regulated fully by a number of bodies. Illegal hunting is completely unregulated and involves packs of unmuzzled dogs chasing any wildlife, sometimes livestock, for unlimited hours with the aims of killing it. Numerous Irish and EU wildlife laws are broken, including the killing of the protected, when illegal hunting is carried out. Coursing is all about the hare, which is a remarkable work of nature, which has thrived for thousands of years on our island and will continue to flourish only with the assistance of coursing clubs and with the duty of care they provide for the hare. It is the concern that coursing clubs show for hare conservation that makes the sport so indispensable and unique. Without the efforts of coursing clubs and members, the hare population would be without the significant layer of protection it presently enjoys from husbandry initiatives afforded by coursing clubs on a yearly basis. Without regulated coursing, there would be an increase of unregulated illegal hunting taking place throughout the year, with no organisation taking responsibility or interest in the overall well-being of the hare. We have seen in the UK where coursing has been outlawed, and published reports on wildlife crime in the UK point towards how the banning of regulated coursing in 2005 coincided with a dramatic increase in poaching by non-coursing people from criminal backgrounds. In 2013, the Animal Health and Welfare Bill, which was enacted by Minister Coveney, was instrumental in overhauling the archaic animal protection laws that previously existed. This ensures that the welfare of all animals, including non-farm animals, is properly protected and penalties for offenders are increased significantly. It also copper-fastened advances in how we treat our animals and tackle the threat of epidemics devastating our livestock. I believe from this there is sufficiently robust regulatory framework in place currently to ensure that the highest animal welfare standards are maintained with respect to hare coursing. Clubs affiliated to the Irish Coursing Club catch approximately 5,500 hares each coursing season, which is roughly 1% of the national hare coursing population. More than 90% of the hares caught for hare coursing are returned to the wildlife each year also. Minister Humphreys has previously said that independent scientific studies have estimated that hare mortality during captivity and coursing in Ireland is equivalent to less than 0.1% of the total adult hare population annually. I believe that the sponsors of the bill need to review the facts. I believe there is no hard data or scientific evidence to prove that the hare is an endangered species as a result of hare coursing. From speaking to people who have devoted their lives to coursing, they've all spoken about the resilience of the hare. It is equipped genetically to accommodate the chase. Regulated coursing presents the hare with no situation with which it is unfamiliar or unequipped to deal with. Coursing clubs have been and will continue to be deeply immersed in the conservation of the Irish hare population, always seeking new ways to improve conservation in the face of loss of habitat due to the advances of our modern world. This despite the uninformed and unproven efforts to try and ban it when no proven alternative conservation programmes are in place for the hare. Excuse me. The purpose of this bill is to show Ireland's commitment to the rights of animals and that we are a country that follows the example of other civilised countries. We have always been world leaders when it comes to this issue. We have always worked in collaboration with the EU when it came to the conservation of natural habitats and continue to do so. We have always worked together with member states to form the same strong legislative framework in order to protect the most vulnerable species and habitat types across our continent. We continue to review the common animal welfare framework, and we always seek ways as a parliament to improve it. This is something that I believe we have always had cross-party consensus on in this House. Due to the Irish hare listing, the Department of Arts, Heritage and the Gaeltacht are obliged to take an assessment of animal conservation status every 6 years. Following the last assessment in 2013, the overall assessment with regard to the hare was widespread and common in Ireland with a broad habitat niche. There were no identified threats considered likely to impact on its conservation status. I am sure and am fully confident that the next review that is due to be carried out in 2019 will show that the population status of the Irish hare will be unchanged. This will be more in part down to the work of the Irish coursing clubs and its members in the work they carry out preserving the hare. I have the utmost respect for Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan, who has sponsored this bill, though I am dumbfounded by many of those who are in favour of this bill. They have made the thousands of people who are supporters and fanatics of hare coursing out to be bloodthirsty people who get some sort of kick out of blood sports. I believe this is an unfair judgment on those who partake in hare coursing. At each coursing meeting, there is a vet present on the day to advise and administer care when required. Wildlife rangers are often in attendance to ensure that the 26 conditions of the licence are complied with. On conclusion of any given coursing meeting, all hares are released back into the wild under the supervision of the control steward. Each meeting is assessed by the General Purpose Meeting of the ICC, and they determine if any prudent action is required, and they also impose sanctions if they feel they are necessary, as indicated by the Minister already. These are the actions of people who realise the duty of care and responsibility they have in preserving the hare. I do not believe that Deputy O'Sullivan has taken account the full facts before she rashly sponsored this bill. The history of this coursing in this country goes back many centuries. It is the bedrock of many small rural communities. I believe that Deputy O'Sullivan has not taken this into account before she sponsored this bill. I believe that she has listened to the views of one side, but has failed to listen to the views of the other. Those who partake in coursing respect nature and love nature. They would not do anything that would harm them in any way. In many ways, I believe they are more respectful of nature and endangered species than those who claim to be anti-blood sports, which coursing is not. Those who love coursing and love nature back up their words with actions. They go beyond the call of nature to ensure that no species is endangered. Coursing is so much to so many. It has been in families for generations. The traditions that coursing entails have been passed down from one generation to the next, and I hope they will continue to do so for many years to come. If you attend any coursing meeting in this country like I do, it is a sport that incorporates all ages. It is a sport that brings communities, families and friends together. It is an organisation that has clear guidelines, ethics and regulations. It takes any threat in these as an attack on coursing itself. Today it is important to the economies of many small towns and villages when yearly meetings are held. It brings people from far and wide together and is an important source of income to local economies at a time this is hard to come by. I believe that the proposed amendments to the Welfare Act are short-sighted and irresponsible and will have far-reaching repercussions which have not yet been considered by those proposing the ban. Those who are in support of this bill are unable to provide an alternative and viable conservation strategy. These groups are also completely unconcerned with the issues of illegal hunting of the Irish hare. We have debated this issue before and the Dáil, yet illegal hunting has never been brought up in this House by the sponsor of this bill. I have great concern over the extent in which anti-coursing groups and their selected TDs are sufficiently informed, and I believe there may be a role open divide when it comes to this issue. I believe Deputy O'Sullivan has taken no notice of the vast improvements made in regulated coursing and have no interest in the ICC goal of ensuring the overall longevity of the species through its own conservation contributions and by assisting the Gardaí and the NPWS in combating the practices of illegal hunting. If coursing is outlawed in this country, the hare will no longer be the protected species, but it will become a forgotten one. I believe that all proposals to ban hair crossing are poorly researched and are based on exaggerated facts and hysteria. I would like to remind deputies in this House that there is still a week to go before we vote on this bill.
Thank you, Deputy O'Keefe.
I would encourage all deputies to check the real facts, to properly inform themselves of the issues and then make a judgment call, and not when is on the spur of the moment, decision based on emotion that is influenced by others and not by yourself.
Thank you very much, Deputy O'Keefe.